Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the show. So tonight, it's another thrilling episode of a classic fragrance lounge with myself and my friend Chris from
Sandland, the land of sand.
Hello, how are you?
Not too bad actually. Yourself?
Good. Yes, fine. Thank you. Happy to be here on a nice, Thursday night in February. So, guys, welcome to the show. What we'll do first, we're going to do the year 1992 today. If anyone doesn't know the format of the show, we do classic fragrance themed stuff here. Myself and Chris, who has an amazing channel, Scentland, which most of you probably have heard of, but I'll probably pop the link down there later. And we talk about the fragrances released in that year. Also, maybe some stuff that happened in that year, what we were doing that year, and maybe some events in the news, some popular culture, that type of stuff. So it's always fun. So I'll just do a quick little bit of keeping up with a few comments because it's nice to say hello to a few people. So hi gang, says Andre Petre, a familiar name in the comments. Thank you so much. Unfortunately, says Daniel Darngard. Hi, unfortunately can't watch the show tonight. He has to get up at 3:30 to go to work. Have a great one, but thanks for the best wishes. Okay, the betting is up. Will Dan be on time tonight or will he be fashionably late? I think I've answered that one. Late, of course, says Jeannie. Correct. Thank you. Gung Fu. That is a strong possibility. Krasimir Kunchev says, come on, Smelly. Okay. And we have also Miami Cuddles says, in 1992, I was a beginning teacher. Interesting. Thanks for telling us. They're waiting for his drink of the night to get iced in the freezer, says Krasimir Kunchev. Not quite true. So I'll fast forward a little bit there. And great to see you guys all in here. Somebody bail Cuddles for $20. No, I'm not going to play that game tonight. That was one off, I think, or not again. Anyway, in Argentina, it's 6:10. Hello to you. Hope you're having a nice early evening in Argentina. So, guys, great to have you all here in the comments. Stuart Roberts says, hi, Smelly Army. Koros and Fahrenheit have to make an appearance here. Well, they were very much fragrances you might have worn then, but they weren't released then. So, it's 1992 is the theme. We may not always do a year every episode, but at the moment, that's the theme. So we do a specific year every episode. This year is 1992. That's enough of me waffling. Hello to you, Chris. So can you tell us, 1992, where were you and what were you doing with your life?
Well, 92, I was in Budapest, Hungary, where I'm based now, obviously. Yeah. And I was still in school. I was doing very badly in school, to be honest. And so I was still in school, which means like high school, because some delays, and but it was a difficult year in terms of that. I had to master a few challenges, but overall, I still considered the year 92 in my life to be a milestone. Not only because I turned 20, but it had good vibes somehow. It was a special year. I remember.
All right, great. Hello to Autumn Star. Hello, Mr. Smelly. She says, hello to Manly Sense in the comments. And It's Vital, also a familiar guest. Grab yourself a coffee and shave your balls, says Paulie Gallagher. Well, the coffee part you could do, but probably the other bit, maybe not. But thanks for the thought. Hello, Mark. Hello, Dan and Chris. So, so 20. Okay, great. You're just coming into the prime of your life, which is interesting. So you were a little bit ahead of me. I was only 15. So I was still living in Barnet in North London and still at school, in secondary school. Kind of, it's a difficult age, 15, let's be honest, because you're sort of too old to just want to do kid stuff, but not old enough to do any of the fun stuff that you want to do that you might be wanting to do. So you're sort of in a tough spot. But I was just beginning to sneak out and illegally buy alcohol and go up to the park and stuff with my friends. Wow. So it was that kind of era. And it was okay, actually. Yeah, it was. I had some fun memories from that year. I remember playing a lot of football in the summer, which was really great. And we used to go down after school and had some amazing games of football with my friends down at the local playing fields where we used to just go straight after we got home from school and stay there till, the sun went down, if it was June or something, at 10 o'clock.
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
Some of those.
Same here. Yeah.
Lovely. Yeah. Those kind of games can be the happiest memories you can have. So we had, I remember a lot of that was going on if we had some good weather, which we did, I think, that year. Okay, so let's get stuck into it. We'll do sort of what was going on in the world and all that as we go along, but we'll dive in with, because it's a fragrance channel. I sometimes forget. So Laura Cifuente says, how old am I, Mr. Smelly? The name of the channel is Mr. Smelly 1977. That was when I was born, so I am 45. Oh, God, don't remind me. Okay, that's all right. Prime of our life, both of us. Chris, what's your first selection, fragrance-wise, please?
Let's stick to anniversaries. And if I count well, it's the 500th anniversary of the discovery of America, and
Wow.
this fragrance was released that year. Is Christopher Columbus 1492? Okay. This has been released in 1992. Okay, so it marked the 500th anniversary of the discovery of the continent America, and obviously the bottle shapes the globe. Okay, so when Cristoforo Colombo started from Genoa, thinking that he would go to India, and ended up in discovering a new continent on the board of the Santa Maria, which you maybe see there, right?
Mm-hmm.
That this fragrance is dedicated to that, and it's still around, and it's very affordable. And
so just so people definitely know what we're talking about here, Christopher Columbus, 1492 is the name of the fragrance.
Exactly.
Can I very quickly just do this comment from Anton Costantino? It's a super chat. So thank you so much for £4.49. Much appreciated. Great year for movies, he says. And this is this is actually a helpful comment for later. Reservoir Dogs, Basic Instinct. Oh, yeah. My Cousin Vinny, The Last of the Mohicans, to name a few. Big year for the hip.
We will get to that, definitely.
Brilliant comment, and thanks for the super chat. So it's I've never heard of this, Chris. What is that? The name of the just the fragrance or the brand? I'm confused.
The brand is Parfum par Natura, and it's made in France, but it's still out there. If you search it, you're going to find it under the fragrance name, obviously. And the smell that it gives you is a very close brother to Kenzo Purom, the original, which came out 1 year earlier. Now the trick is that this is a better juice than that, because it has a tremendously nice woody background there that is very prominent, and it helps this to smell more natural than Kenzo Purom, which was one of the first fragrances that used cologne and smelled very oceanic and aquatic, as we remember, and still around. This is better. This really smells like you're out at sea on the Santa Maria, which has this wooden floor.
Yeah,
and it's absolutely brilliant. I mean, this is better than Kenzo Purom. This thing.
All honestly. Right, I need to check this one out. I'll just quick hello to.
Stunning.
I'm gonna find out if we can still get this from you in a second, Chris. Clement CC, a great guest who's normally here on a Friday. It's the year of her birth. Ooh, I had to say hello, guys. You're talking about my date of birth. Yes, hello, Clement. So yeah, interesting year for you. So this is. Can we still buy this online, Chris? Easily, yeah.
Absolutely, yeah. You can find it. Yeah, it's still around.
Okay, sounds like I'd really like that one. Okay, great choice, superb. No, really, hello to Fat Boy Fragrance in the chat as well, another friend of the show. Sorry, just with the comments, I sometimes have to interrupt. Really.
Sure.
Yeah. So okay, great choice. I've got to be honest with you. That was that's an obscure fragrance, isn't it? That's not like that.
I'm always here for a surprise.
Yes, you are always the king of the surprise fragrances, but that's certainly, we're not going to say that everyone was walking around wearing that. In 1992, but this is what we're here for. I love that you pick up this kind of stuff for us. So really good. Okay, I think that's a kind of good division of labor, because I tend to sometimes give us the more obvious ones, but we want to cover some of those bases. Greggy Boy 76 says, "Evening all." Hello, Greg. Great to have you there, my friend. Okay, so let's go for my first selection, and I'm going to go for a very widely talked about one that's probably not going to surprise anyone, and this is Safari from Ralph Lauren, I think I should say. Now, one of the best things about this fragrance is this amazing bottle design, which is absolutely superb, sort of a whiskey decanter type thing. And there was a female version, I think that came out in 1990, and this is an absolutely sensational, I think, woody, aromatic kind of fougere-ish, but it's sort of somewhat barbershop-ish type fragrance. So the original Polo Green from the same house, of course, very, very rugged, very, very green. Let's just grab it. Very green smelling, 1978 release, real power, kind of a powerhouse in a way. But the Safari fragrance has a little bit more of a barbershop kind of lavender thing, smooth and woody, somewhat spicy, very, very wearable, very masculine, an old school vibe. To smell it now, it looks back a little bit more to the 80s than forwards to the stuff that was going to come. And the key with this thing is, guys, you got to get the Cosmere version if you can, because they did reformulate. There does seem to be a wide consensus that the modern one, not quite as good, but really, really, this is the kind of thing that was out there on the shelves in 1992. Lovely bottle design, and these guys hadn't released fragrances, 3 a year in the way that is happening now. So it was a really,
exactly,
this was a time when a new fragrance was kind of a big thing. And this is one you definitely would have found in your stores, in your magazines. I've got old Vogue magazines and stuff with adverts for this in them, because a lot of the Vogue magazines for women, of course, buying fragrances for their men for Christmas. So there was still a lot of men's frag ads. So 1992, there's two to kick you off, guys. Let's talk about what was happening in the world that year, Chris. Let's go straight to the Olympics first. 1992 Barcelona Olympics. What are your memories of that?
Well, the first thing that comes really to my mind is Freddie Mercury singing the song with "Help Me," her name. What's her name?
Oh, yeah.
Beautiful.
The opera
voice
singer, right?
Lady. Yeah, exactly. It's a shame that it escapes me, but the song was just so capturing, and Candace was leading off to this Olympic game in Barcelona that I remember Hungary actually doing very well in that, and it just shaped the summer. Really, it was a very somehow very passionate Olympic games, and I'm not a great fan of Olympic games, but that one was really somehow sticking with me because it had some vibe, but also this song added some extra class to the whole affair.
It was an amazing song. Montserrat Caballé. Sorry.
Yeah.
Yes.
God bless her.
Barcelona. I don't think my singing is good enough.
It was the first time when we met.
Yeah. Amazing song. And of course, he was by that time gone. He died in sort of towards the end of 91, but obviously he'd recorded it. So extra poignant because of that. And the Olympics, I remember Britain got a gold medal in the 100 meters, which is not, we don't normally do that. And that was Linford Christie. So I remember that clearly.
Wow.
And did you have any specific memories of any of the sports that actually happened in the night? I'm a bit vague on what happened in the actual events and who won what.
Well, again, I was concentrating at the time more on the Hungarians, and I guess Kristina and Tomáš Dornyi have done the swimmers. They've done like tremendous gold medals, lining them up. It was amazing. So I remember the Hungarians doing very well in that.
Aha! I didn't know the Hungarians had a good Olympics. So there you go.
Compared to the size of the nation, the number of gold medals and medals in general were at the time specifically very good, very high.
Yep, of course. You guys over on the Eastern Bloc, of course, had a very good history of doing well in the Olympics up before that anyway, because you had really good infrastructure for the sports there, didn't you? And that obviously carried on even though the Berlin Wall and all that had gone. So yeah, great stuff. Okay, so Barcelona Olympics was one of the big things. We'll do a fragrance each, and then I'll talk about some other stuff like current affairs. So it's back to you, Mr. Scentland.
Okay, masterpiece. Again, something that is not probably obvious to everybody, but it should be because it's a masterpiece. Salvador Dali. Okay, the cap is missing because this is a tester bottle. Salvador Dali released this in 1992. It's a nice golden. Sorry, my light is a bit less professional than yours.
It looks good.
It is a tremendously nice bottle. It has this dimple inside, and this rugged kind of texture. And is one of those fragrances that I describe as liquid sunshine, much like, for example, Boss Spirit from '89. It has this it has been born at the time. 1992 was to me in fragrances a time still within a time frame when we discussed this the last time, that it was a transition. So they were looking back at the 80s, but they wanted to go towards something newer, something fresher. So there you go. So voila, monsieur, this is the thing, and it's a fresh, aromatic, spicy wonder. It is really, and a bit of barbershopiness in there as well. So I tremendously love this fragrance, and a great artwork.
What I'm doing as you do that is I'm just going to get the notes up on my phone. So that it's Pour-Homme, isn't it? Because I get confused with the names of these ones.
Yes.
So I'll get the notes up on the old phone there. Oh Christ, it's a bit hard to find that because it keeps giving me the other one. This was an incredible release, actually. It's long since discontinued. Let's talk about the bottle design then. Maybe I can do a bit more on the presentation as I've got the box here. So Salvador Dali, one of those weird fragrance houses. Obviously, Salvador Dali is a very famous, perhaps the most famous, surrealist painter. And he actually died in 1989. So he'd been gone a while. I'm not sure. Yeah, he did have some fragrances out in his name before that. Let's just do a quick super chat here. Friend of the show and a great guy. Thank you so much to Scent Nation for $4.99. Great question. So we'll hold this thought. What's 3 things that you miss about the 90s and the early 90s, to be exact? And would you, if you something go back for 3 days to the 90s?
Sure.
Yeah, we'll definitely answer that question. I'll hold that thought. Yeah, amazing fragrance. I've got a splash bottle here. Is yours a splash, Chris?
No, it's a spray.
Oh, nice. I wish I had a spray. Splashes can be a little bit of a pain because you don't always want to use them and you don't want to decant. So it looks even better with the cap there. Stunning design. I'll try and give it a little bit of a close up there. It's got this phenomenal, textured design on the glass, and in the middle
you can see the color much better with you.
It's got that kind of the lips thing, which is reminiscent of his other fragrance, the sort of bulbous thing with the lips you can't quite make out. So absolutely beautiful, stunning design. Passing similarities perhaps to Safari by Ralph Lauren. Very rich, a little bit barbershopish, but quite sort of leathery and almost hinting at animalic, or it's a little bit challenging to the nose for youngsters today, I would say, wouldn't you, Chris?
Surely, yeah. Child of its time.
Absolutely. It's Vital says he bought it for €4. Yoshi, never mind the Olympics. Mario Kart 92. Yes, computer games were evolving back then. Okay, so great release, this one, and hard to find now, but if you can, look out for it because it's an absolute sizzler. So you've robbed me of one of my choices, but I don't mind at all.
Sorry, I didn't think that you would have that and present that.
I wonder if it was you that I can't remember. It might well have been you that turned me onto it. I don't know. I'm sure you've done a review on your channel, have you?
That's correct. I remember. So yeah. I think
what a fragrance that is. So you can still get some of the Dalis, but for some reason, this one bit the dust not too long after. But absolutely great stuff that was. All right, well, that was going to be my choice, so we'll count that as one of mine. Let's do a little bit more on what was going on in the world back then. We had a couple of movie memories. I'll do the heavy stuff first, so I guess it is probably necessary to point out that I think that was the year really that the war in Bosnia kicked off. Yugoslavia had run into problems by the early 90s. 91, I think the war sort of started between Serbia and Croatia, but the war in Bosnia kicked off, which was probably, if anything, the worst portion of the Yugoslav conflict. And so that was in the news, unfortunately. Any memories of that, Chris?
Well, it was a neighboring, it was a neighboring country, but the strange thing is that for us Germans, no matter West, like myself, or East, but mostly West, West Germans went down to Yugoslavia many years. For many years, it was considered to be one of the major destinations for West German tourists, believe it or not. Yeah. And remember the Olympic Games in Sarajevo in '84. I mean, it was just, everything was so vivid, and Yugoslavia was always a country that was sort of more easygoing. And all of a sudden, like lines were drawn on the land, on the sand, and the sea. And people kept, jumping at each other and killing each other in the most horrid manner. And for that to be happening in such a beautiful country and so beautiful, such beautiful people. It doesn't matter if Serbians, Bosnians, Croatians, people from Montenegro. I've been all over the place there, and I love each part I've been to, and I love Serbians, I love Croatians, and also and everybody there, because I never had a bad experience. But that shows you just how much politics can actually poison people. And I understand conflict, okay, but I don't understand inhumane torture, killing of people just for land and political purposes. That's something that I don't understand. And it was sad. It was very sad.
Yes,
and
it
went
was
on
horrifying.
for a long time.
Sorry?
Went on for a long time.
It did, yeah. It wasn't really until what 95 that things finally ended. So yeah, really horrific, and of course to have it in the middle of Europe, and yeah, in a country that had been relatively advanced, where lots of people from the West had gone on their holidays and had a great time in the 80s. I'm sure many of us had no idea there were all these different nationalities who supposedly had all these issues. But I certainly just thought people in Yugoslavia were Yugoslavian as a 15-year-old until this happened. And then I found out it was a different story. So that was horrible. That was really unfortunate, very bad. Let's talk about stuff that was going on, a little bit more fun stuff. So culturally, somebody mentioned some movies back there in one of the super chats. So I will pull that back up if I can get all the way back up to it, because it's a long way up there.
Well, I have one favorite movie from 92.
Yes.
I think it was 92, but I never forget that movie called The Feel Good Man with Tom Cruise, Jack Nicholson, Demi Moore. When you know about the prisoner there killed or not the prisoner, the soldier killed in Guantanamo Bay, and Tom Cruise was the young upcoming lawyer, and with his team they tried to get this hotshot general who ordered the code red for the soldier to be killed. And it was just, Jack Nicholson was fantastic, and Tom Cruise was fantastic in that as well. I think that was 92, if I'm not mistaken. With the court scene at the end.
I'm just going to get a little image up to remind people if I can. I never saw this. This is bad.
Oh, you should. You must watch it. I mean, it's a milestone in Jack Nicholson's and also Tom Cruise's career. I think they're just so good. And there's a courtroom scene at the end is just brilliant. I mean, like, wow. Few good men,
guys. Top tip, if you haven't seen it, I'm going to check that one out. Maybe there we go. It looks something like that.
Yeah.
Colonel
Jessup. Now that I see him, I know that Jack Nicholson was called Colonel Jessup, and he was a tough guy.
Yeah, maybe I need to see this film. Okay, Few Good Men. Great call there. I need to watch that one. Guys, let us know anything else that we need to check out in terms of movies from that year. Let's do a couple of others then. So I'm just going to try and find that helpful comment that gentleman left, but it was a while back. So Basic Instinct, that was one of the big ones, and it was a famously sort of sexy film for the time, right? Any members of that one, Chris?
Of course. let me cross my legs. Wait.
Yeah. So the famous thing that happened, everybody, in case you don't know, in Basic Instinct was, oh God, I've forgotten her name. Sharon Stone was being interrogated or something by the police, and there was some scene where she was looking kind of seductive and uncrossed her legs on a chair. And apparently you caught a glimpse of something that you didn't normally see in movies, and that was back then, guys. We didn't have the kind of stuff available on the internet that we have today. So that was titillation for us. That's what we had to survive on, those kind of crumbs. It was pretty hard times. But that was much talked about. Was it Michael Douglas in the film as well?
Right, correct, yeah.
Can't even remember that's all we know the film for. It's probably quite a good movie too. Okay, other ones the gentleman mentioned. This is a good one. Reservoir Dogs, Quentin Tarantino. Fan of that one, Scentland?
I mean, one of the earlier before. I mean, everything before Pulp Fiction is sort of earlier. But Quentin Tarantino is an absolute crazy guy. I love him. He's absolute brilliant, and I hope that he can go on for another 100 years, because that sort of people are needed in Hollywood. I think, especially as Spielberg's and all these people getting so old. That guy's just mad. He's just full mad. But I love him.
Yep, that was an amazing film. Kind of very brutal and violent in its content for the Yeah, exactly. Good. Yeah, absolutely seminal film, that one. No doubt about that. My cousin Vinny, got no big recollection of that. I don't seem to be too up to date on the films that. Yeah. Oh, Unforgiven, Clint Eastwood was a good one. Last of the Mohicans as well. Somebody mentioned. So there was some good
Seinfeld.
movies back.
Seinfeld.
What, Seinfeld started? Did it?
No, it started way earlier, but obviously it was still around at the time. And Friends had not started yet, so Seinfeld was at the time still very much around, I think.
The
Not
biggest
necessarily.
sort of. Yeah. Seinfeld was, of course, Larry David was the writer who did one of my current modern sort of favorites, Curb Your Enthusiasm. Mind you,
Yeah,
that's been going 20 years now, which is scary.
wow.
But
Yeah.
this was a bit more of a mainstream sort of audience thing, and it is very clever writing. And I'd have to say, I would probably, I'd rather watch that than Friends personally. I don't know about you, Chris. You a big fan of Friends?
I loved Friends. I'll
Okay.
out myself, and I love Seinfeld probably even more because it has this New York touch even more than Friends does, and I love Kramer, and I love George Costanza, and I love these characters.
Yeah, Kramer and George, yeah, they are funny. It's good stuff. You gotta be honest. It's well written stuff. Curb Your Enthusiasm is brilliant. Somebody agreeing with me there. Okay, let's do another fragrance. I'm going back to Stefan Fragrance says Fraser is better than Friends. I would agree with you on that. Max 40 fan. Don't think that's the real Max 40, but it's one of his fans, which is great to see. Curb
Wow.
is an awful show, and the suitably shocked
Oh.
looking Max 40 face there. So thank you for that comment. Hit us with a question if you want. As there are a lot of comments, a super chat could be a good way to make sure we definitely deal with your question, particularly if it's appropriate to the subject we're dealing with. That would be a good way to go. Let's go for the next fragrance then, please, Chris. I think we've had two each now.
Yeah. So next one is a fragrance from the house of Joop, which at the time was still run by Wolfgang Joop, the designer, German designer. Okay, there's three big German designers that we know in Germany: Karl Lagerfeld, Gilles Sander, and Wolfgang Joop. And he bought out this fragrance. I have a mini of this, but I used it at the time.
Put you on full.
It's called Night Flight. Night Flight came out in 1992. And it has if I remember well, but I can check with my nose. It's a fresh, spicy, fruity fragrance that is very much pointing toward what the 90s would become all about. This very joyful, carefree, getting away from the heavy hitters of the 70s and 80s type of fragrance, while still being sort of still serious, and I think this one has a great, if I'm not mistaken, but correct me if I'm wrong, it has a great pineapple note in there as well, which was not very much featured at the time, not like today after Aventus, okay, but I think it has that one as well, and it's fairly prominent, and it's really a nice fragrance that nobody ever talks about, Night Flight, and I love the name, to be honest.
Who's it? Sorry, who's it by?
Joop.
Oh, it's Joop. Yeah, I thought. Okay.
Yeah. Joop.
Joop has we incorrectly. Yeah.
It's Joop. But never mind. Night Flight from Joop 1992 has to be mentioned because it is a good fragrance. Nothing groundbreaking, but a really good fragrance from the early 90s.
Can we still get that one?
I think so. Yes, I've seen it around.
But it's not in production, no.
I don't think so, no. But it could be a surprise that it is still, because fairly recently I've seen it in some drugstore, and that just gives me the impression that it's maybe still in production or was a few years ago. But it's worth a try.
Let us know if you know the answer to that question. But by the way, hello, Marshall's Blends didn't spot you in there. Okay, let's do my second choice. I'm going to maybe surprise people a bit because I hope I'm right. I think I'm right. I'm going to do my scent of the night, a Rolfer from Creed, actually. Came out in 1992. This is a niche fragrance. And, niche fragrances only really started to become a thing more and more recently. But, Creed had begun. their journey to the top of the niche game back then, at least in terms of sales. So, yeah, a Rolfer from Creed, amazing, sort of very, very fresh, summery, citrus aromatic scent. Named after, it is good. It is good. It takes names. I don't care that it's February and it's cold. It's still, you can still wear it. Takes its name from Erwin Creed, Olivia. I don't think it's Olivia. It's Olivia, one of his daughters or something, and Fatima or something. It's names of his family. It's names of his family members bunged together. Anyhow, that's Olivia Creed's family. So beautiful, beautiful citrus stuff in there. I think there's a little bit of kind of spiciness, ginger, and a real nice kind of undertone of sea notes, sort of a little bit of an ambergris
saltiness.
Salty, yes, that's salty sea air with citrus. Very, very vibrant, very fresh. All about the top notes in a way, but it does stick around in that lovely way that some Creeds really do. So even quite a few people like Lania Smith, who are not sort of massive Creed fans, I remember, said, this is the Creed that I could, if I had to have one, or, the one I really respect is a Rolfer. So you really, really sort of under the radar one. You got Virgin Island water for a fresh one. You got Silver Mountain water. You got Green Irish Tweed, all these other, but I really, really love a Rolfer from Creed. Absolutely amazing. Are you a fan, Chris? I'm intrigued.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Not in general of the Creeds, but there's a few. But this one, together with the original Vetiver and Silver Mountain Water and maybe Green Irish Tweed, they're just, it's just good. It's just good. It's good.
Yeah. So what is your reluctance to go all in as a Creed fan then? What is it about them that doesn't quite do it for you overall?
The bottle, the packaging, I found it sometimes a bit. I had some bottles that were like weird, but the cap was coming off, and I bought it in a genuine niche shop. Okay, I reviewed that particular bottle. I think it was probably actually an Aventus bottle, and the impact of Aventus, which I utterly despise. I hate Aventus.
You hate Aventus?
I hate.
Wow. How can I can understand you being bored of everyone hyping it, but you actually really dislike it as a smell?
Absolutely dislike it. I bought one of the first bottles back in, I think in 2011 it was, because I liked the smell initially, but it became just too much. I couldn't use the bottle. I sold it afterwards like for 10 times the price. It was totally stupid, but I made some cash on it. And I can't smell it because you know why? Because it's been hyped to a point where all these tracksuit lads are wearing this shit, and and it's just it lost its appeal totally. Can't stand the smell. There's only one fragrance that I can't stand the smell apart from Creed Aventus. There's only one more fragrance I cannot smell. Actually, two more, and that's it. There's 3 fragrances I can't smell. The other 2 are women's fragrances. One is called Baby Doll by Yves Saint Laurent, and the other one is Eden by Cacharel. These 3 fragrances I can't smell.
Wow, you heard it here, guys. Chris, not a fan of Creed Aventus, and that's an understatement. On a more positive note, Chris, what are you drinking there? Is it a Hungarian red?
Yeah, it's a Hungarian red. Yeah.
Can you give us what type? Go on, tell us which one.
It's the Szauszka Cuvée 13, and it has about like 5 different varieties of grapes in it. Like it has a Cabernet Franc, Cabernet Sauvignon, it has Merlot, it has Syrah, and it has, I think, Blaufränkisch, which is a more local kind of grape. So at least it's a marriage of 5 different grape varieties or sorts. It's nice.
Beautiful. Hungary has some very serious winemakers out there. Is that something, an everyday affordable bottle of wine, or is it fancy?
€10.
Okay. Brilliant. Lovely. Sounds lovely to me. So, Clements CC, lovely to have you commenting. I hope you'll be with us tomorrow evening. Aventus smells nice, but way too much hype. It's starting to be annoying. Yeah, I would agree with that. I'm not like you, Chris. I do think it's really good, but now that so many people smell,
I'm not saying it's good. I just hate it.
Sorry. Well, I don't like people sitting on the fence, so at least you haven't done that. I'm out if a guy tells me fragrance is Aventus. I'll try that again. I'm out if a guy tells me Aventus is the best fragrance of all time during a date. Ooh, wow, that's a bit harsh.
Mademoiselle, tu es très merveilleux.
There you go. I think even I understood that. But I'll tell you what, if I was having a good date, I wouldn't care if she thought, I wouldn't care what she thought was the best fragrance of all time. But some people are obviously harsher. They have higher standards than me. So, okay, fair enough. So that was okay. That's mine and yours, the second or third one each. Let's see what else was going on in the world in that year. Let's talk about music then, Chris. Any memories of favorite songs that came out in 1992?
Well, I was getting very, very much after all my pop periods with Genesis and some Italian pop and all that. I was turning totally in a different direction. I had long hair. I was deeply, deeply into Metallica. Listening to all their albums, which came like all to me like something new. I remember Pantera, the band Pantera, releasing the Vulgar Display of Power, I think it was called. It's tough record, tough album, love it to bits, Philip Anselmo and Dimebag and all those guys. So I turned into a total different direction as well, because mostly also 892, like Whitney Houston, and
Oh God!
You can kill me with that. So maybe that's also a reason why I said, not enough of that. And
You mean you like it or you don't like it?
No, I didn't like it. I didn't like it at all. I mean, the soft, cheesy stuff was not. Also, Fear of the Dead.
I didn't like it either. Yeah, it was a remake of a Dolly Parton song, wasn't it?
It's getting even better.
Well, Dolly Parton, I prefer the Dolly Parton version, but yeah, not much.
I remember Clapton did an unplugged stuff.
Yeah.
I remember Iron Maiden doing Fear of the Dark. Great. I was on a Genesis concert in Vienna in 92 in July in Vienna, yes, which was great actually. And I remember vividly that although I think the record came out in 91, but November Rain by the Guns N' Roses was played all over the place. And I liked that song. That was a good song.
I didn't like that either. I like some Guns N' Roses, but I felt that was really annoying, that song.
There you go. It was a bit pretentious, like all Guns N' Roses, but still, yeah.
All right. Sabotage, best song ever, 1994, though. That's the Beastie Boys, isn't it? Yeah. I like the Beastie Boys. There we go. I do like the Beastie. I prefer the early era Beastie Boys when they're a bit more basic, actually. But yeah, I like a bit of Beastie Boys. Okay, 92. I'll tell you what I thought was a great song that came out in that year, which is The Cure, Friday I'm in Love.
That's good. Yeah, I like that.
I have to, and that's not normally the kind of band I'm massively into, but I got to admit that was a very catchy, good song. And he made that song up, and he couldn't believe he had to phone his friend or something and sing it down the phone. And so I'm sure I've just remembered this melody and stolen it, but is it new? And apparently it was. So yeah, really good song, nice lyrics, good concept, and a brilliant song. So there's a couple of examples. Let us know in the comments down below about things you remember music-wise from the year 1992. Let's do a fragrance one each then, Chris. What have you got next for us?
Easy choice, okay. Guerlain Heritage or Heritage 1992. Yes. Not in this shape, because obviously this is the new format, okay. And as I understand, both the EDT and the EDP came out that year. And again, Guerlain, okay. So Guerlain is maintaining a strong timeline of masterful releases, and this is no exception of that. Again, that's by the way, that's the Eau de Parfum, and it's the modern bottle version. But I think that the overall composition is something that shows that Guerlain, no matter what decade we write, okay, is able to stick its foot straight in there and put their presence in there with their class and with their timeless effort in order to create something that is talking to the market at that point in time, but that will be still relevant and a classy fragrance 20 years later or 30 years later, like it is today. So that makes a great fragrance brand or fragrance house, because Heritage was great then and Heritage is great today.
Yep, I got to go with you on that one because I'm afraid that was going to be my next choice as well. But you've got the eau de parfum at least, and I've got the eau de toilette. So,
Yes.
we're okay there. So, comes now in a bottle like this. I mean, the current formula is really, really still lovely. So, I know there's different ones with a gold lid and stuff. People may seek those out. But to be honest, absolutely amazing fragrance. Good night, Clements. Thank you for joining us at nearly 10 p.m. So, time for bed. Good night. Good for you getting a reasonable bedtime there, unlike me normally. Good stuff. See you. Hopefully see you tomorrow. I'll be there. Fragrance Connoisseur, thank you so much for a £5 super chat. Much appreciated. Euro Championships, that's football or soccer.
That's right.
1992 were great. Right. Denmark. So we appreciate the super chat. And that's a good way to remind us about that. I'll just finish off on Heritage, Chris, because I totally agree. Guerlain, what a great house. And this one, as I think the name suggested, it's sort of, there's a little bit of a retro vibe, or it celebrated something of the heritage of the brand. I'm not sure how, but I think it drew together some elements of all their classics or whatever. Really nice patchouli note in this one. I sort of think of it a little bit like a smoothed out cousin to Givenchy Gentleman from 74. There's a little bit of similarity
less
there.
Honey.
Yes, yeah, a little bit, and a bit less funk as well, I would say. So very, very much sort of smart dress kind of stuff. Again, kind of a little bit more backward-looking 80s style, but it's only really when you get to what we'll hopefully do in a couple of episodes or something, the more aquatic stuff from sort of 94, 95, 96, and then you had La Malle and all that. All kinds of different things happened in the mid-90s, but here we're sort of still in the old days of masculine perfume, which for some of us is a good thing. So Heritage, still stunning, guys, and a great, you can get it very affordably. What do you think? There's any significant difference between the eau de parfum? Is there any one you should go over the other, or what, Chris? You're the expert.
Well, I think it's just a little bit of the density that the eau de toilette is probably a bit more légère, a bit more has probably a bit more finesse, is less dense, while the eau de parfum is more straight to the point type of thing. So could be daytime, nighttime, maybe you can switch them over.
Okay, both excellent though. So Heritage from Guerlain, a great release from that year. Let's talk about those Euro Championships. So Euro Championships 1992. So that is the international tournament for soccer between all the countries of Europe, just because we have American viewers. And I think it was held in Sweden, wasn't it?
Yes, my wife's country, yeah.
Ah, okay, lovely. So what are your memories of that one, Chris?
It's weird because every episode I'm talking about football or soccer, and in every episode I'm presenting myself as rooting for a different team, and this was very much the case in '92. Because
I understand this,
but that has probably to do that I lived in 3 different countries, so I'm not really stuck anywhere. And I admit if I change my mind, I have no problem with that. It was the Netherlands. It was Holland at the time, and it had a reason because I loved the goalkeeper. I used to be a goalkeeper, as you know, probably.
Yeah.
And Hans van Breukelen, the Dutch goalkeeper, was just my absolute hero. Just after Zenga, the Italian, and I really, really wanted for Hans van Breukelen to catch another title there. And Ronald Koeman, I liked Ronald Koeman as well a lot as a player.
Yes.
Great defender with a great leg, to score fantastic free kicks. And so
he was a great defender, but he scored quite a few free kicks. Just hello to Michael McDermott. Good to see you in the chat there. Yeah, he was a great player. I agree with you on that.
It was a great team still. The Dutch at the time, but they went down obviously against Denmark in the semi-final. And
shock results. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, that they must have been odds-on favourites to get through that one. Yeah, and Denmark, of course, were included only because Yugoslavia, who'd actually qualified, got kicked out because of the war they were in, the civil war
Yeah,
there that
yeah,
was going on. So Denmark actually theoretically had failed to qualify, but got
yeah.
a kind of wild card position after
I remember they
diplomatic
came
stuff.
off the
Yeah.
beach. They had to call
Yeah.
the players off the summer holidays to come on, guys. We got in there, and then they went in there, and they won it.
So yeah, Denmark won, beating Germany in the final. Was
Yeah.
it a John Jensen goal? Is that right? There was a guy. He went to Arsenal or something, or maybe he scored in one of the other rounds. But they
I'm
surprised
not sure.
everybody. They
Yeah,
beat Germany.
definitely. Yeah.
So yeah, weird one that, and yeah, both Holland and Germany both still had absolutely outstanding teams back then. I, of course, being partisan and a 15-year-old, I was very much cheering for England, who were fairly abysmal, I think. They went out in the group stages. What happened? I think they may have drawn with Denmark and France in fairly nondescript games, and then lost, I think 2-0, no 2-1. They lost 2-1 to Sweden in the last game where they needed I think they needed a win. They went ahead to a Shearer goal, and then there was, can't remember, I think it was the second goal was a famous Thomas Brolin goal where he kind of did the swinging celebration as they knocked us out. And we were abysmal then. And famously, Gary Lineker got substituted in that game, and he never appeared for England again. People were livid, like, why would you take him off? He was our only chance that we could get back in it. So, we were hopeless. And then our fans, of course, disgraced themselves by rampaging through the streets.
That happens almost every time, doesn't it?
Yes, that was a part of our culture that we exported around Europe during the 70s, 80s, and into the early 90s. So tragic stuff. Thank you. Somebody's saying Jersey and Vilfort. Does he mean Jensen and Vilfort? I'm not sure. 2-0 was the result in the Denmark thing. Denmark took the place of Serbia in Euro due to the war. Well, yeah, effectively, it was still called Yugoslavia, but it was effectively Serbia and Montenegro only left in it by that time. I think I'm right in saying was kind of where they were. So, yeah, that was sad. Okay.
Well, sports-wise, there's one more highlight that I cannot let unmentioned, and it was Wimbledon, 1992, tennis, obviously, and it was when John McEnroe won his last title, men's double, together with Michael Stich. They won the double in Wimbledon in 1992. Come on, John.
Yes, I do remember that. Yeah, he had a much younger partner, Michael Stick.
Yeah.
And yeah, it was kind of a comeback year for McEnroe. He actually did all right in the singles as well. He got reasonably far.
Right.
Am I correct in saying it was Andre Agassi who won it that year?
Correct.
So Agassi was sort of another supposed slight rebel, wild child, or more just because his image. He had long hair and a kind of
that was a how's it called, a wig? You know that?
No,
it was a wig.
What?
It was a bloody wig.
Why?
Read his autobiography. Agassi's thing was a wig.
Why did he do that? That's crazy. He needed some kind of trademark or what? It doesn't make any sense.
I don't know, but I seem to remember. Anybody, just if I'm wrong, shoot me. Okay, I take this. I'm a target, but I think Agassi's long hair was a wig.
Wow. Okay, I'm going to get a picture of Andre Agassi up. just so because some people may not know who we're talking about. So Andre Agassi won Wimbledon for his first and I think only time in '92. I think Becker was still a factor back then, wasn't he, Boris Becker?
Yeah. But he struggled to because Michael Stich was stronger. He beat him the year before in '91 in the final, and so Stich for those early 90 years was just overcoming or was just stronger than Becker, and Becker really never got back into Wimbledon because he won his last title in Wimbledon in '89. So
right. Yeah. Okay, I've just got some interesting pictures of this actually, which may actually prove that you're right here, Chris. I think we've got I can begin to see why he had a wig here. This is quite interesting to me. So let me just get these on the screen here, and I think we can have a little discussion about this. So we've got one there. I
love Andre Agassi first, and the second, his autobiography is the best autobiography I've ever read. So, and I think he says that in that one that it was a wig.
Blimey. Yeah, sports autobiographies can be bland, but maybe that's one to check out. Okay, so here he is. that's how we all knew him. That's how I knew him, with an impressive head of hair. If going slightly out of fashion by 92, more of an 80s look, but nice. And here's another image, which perhaps shows why he was wearing a wig. He looks a bit more like me. Probably how most people tell me I should have my hair more like that, shaved short. So he's a kindred spirit. That makes a lot of sense now, guys. There you go. 100% was a wig. Says Remington Brito. Thank you for that comment. That's but I wouldn't know. I don't know. We can take him as an expert, but I believe it now. I believe it. Okay, fantastic. So there you go, Andre. He was ashamed of his receding hairline. Traitor. I'm very unhappy about that. So there you go. I shouldn't have been chilly, but yeah, okay, fair enough. We learn something every day there, guys. How are we doing on fragrances? I think I've kind of run out. I've done two of them. You already had the same, but I mean, it's got to be said, when we go back this far, it's not like this. If we did 2010, we could have thousands to choose from. Well, so there aren't millions, but I bet you've got at least one left, haven't you?
I got actually one that we need to mention, although I don't have the bottle that I will be talking about, just the flanker bottle, because this is Roma Cedro. And I think Laura Biagiotti the original Roma came out in 1992, and it's important to mention because it's a really nice. Around.
This is a really nice flanker that you made. You helped me to find. Earlier this year. I'm going to sneeze. Sorry. Yeah. So, but you don't have the.
No, but we have to due to memory reasons and that I don't use it. But Roma has to be mentioned. Most above all, a fragrance has to be mentioned, which I think was the best fragrance released for men in 1992, and this is going to be something that not many people know.
Yes,
it's a fragrance called. I should put this. I have a mini of this. Ettore Bugatti.
I do not know this one at all.
It's by the house of Diana da Silva. And it's called, again, Ettore Bugatti. It has to be in connection with the Bugatti brand, but I'm not exactly sure. So you have to be looking at the Wikipedia on this. But it's called Ettore Bugatti, and it's the most beautiful citrus aromatic fragrance I've ever come across.
That's a bit of a statement.
It has this wonderful citrus start.
Can you just for the audience, Chris, can you just spell it so I can put it in the chat, because it's really hard to remember that if we don't.
Ettore, like Ettore, Ettore. It's an Italian name, Ettore, and then Bugatti, like
Bugatti.
Yeah, like the vehicle brand. Okay,
so Ettore. Yes.
Or Ettore Bugatti.
Thank you. I've put it in the chat. I'll just very quickly do that super chat. Mike in MO, thank you for the $2 super chat. Really appreciate it. Wear a wig, Dan, on Friday or Saturday. I can do that. I've got plenty of costumes, and wigs have been included. Maybe I'll do it, guys. Maybe I'll just go for a full-on Andre Agassi look from now on. Maybe that could work for me. You're saying it's the best citrus aromatic ever. I'm assuming, yes, and you're now going to annoy me because I can't buy it anymore, right?
I will send you a link. I know a place where you can still buy bottles. But Ettore Bugatti, I just checked, it was Italian-born French automobile designer and manufacturer. So we'll be talking about the Bugatti here, okay? Bugatti, which is in the same class with Lamborghini, Ferrari, Ducati, and all these Maserati, and all these famous Italian sports cars or sports bikes brands. Ettore Bugatti and Diana da Silva is a brand that has a few fragrances out. You can check this brand out on Fragrantica, but I've never smelled anything so beautiful like this in this genre, okay? Because it starts beautiful lemony citrusy, so Italian, and it gets down to this almost animalic, deeply aromatic, huge base, like the tip of the iceberg. You see the tip of the iceberg, which is the citrus, and then underneath the sea lies this huge body of this fragrance. Unbelievable.
I now want to get this. It sounds amazing. All right, thank you so much for bringing a new fragrance to, I'm sure, most of the audience and me to our attention. Good. This is a really good question. So let's go with this, and then we want to revisit that question from Scentland about when would we want to go back to that era. Callie's Groom Room, thank you very much for a $4.99 super chat. I really appreciate that. What is your favorite fragrance from the 90s? Okay, we can do that. We can do that. You can each choose one. I support super chats. Thank you for the support. It means a lot, Callie's Groom Room. Really appreciate that. Okay, we can do that, Chris. I mean, it can't be definitive. I could probably give you a different answer every day, but favorite, just off the top of your head, if I pointed a gun at your head, not that I would, what would you answer right now, Chris, from the whole decade?
Lagerfeld Photo.
Okay, there's your answer. What is your favorite fragrance of all time? And it happened to be from the 90s. So, okay, that's a very honest answer. Me, I mean, I could give you a different answer every day. I'm not going to cheat and give you two. I'm going to say, I was going to say Chanel Egoist.
Oh, yeah.
I'll tell you, I will cheat then. I'll say Chanel Egoist from 1990 for one that you can still buy, and one that you probably can't, but you might find if you're lucky, is Givenchy Insensé.
Insensé.
I know, Insensé. Sorry,
Insensé. Yeah, definitely.
Very good.
Totally great. Yeah. What a choice. Yeah, brilliant.
Okay, and on that Bugatti one, obviously, you just have a mini bottle.
Yeah, but I'm thinking about getting this from that source that I will send you, because this is really, it's just superb. Like, it is, good God. Phew, great.
I need this one now. Yeah, okay. Martial's off to bed or off to a nap before work. Good for you. Okay, so hopefully see you tomorrow night. I'll send you the link and all that for tomorrow, Martial. Hope you are doing great. Thank you. Hope that was a good answer for you, Callie's Groom Room. A great channel, by the way. Hopefully we'll get him on the show. I can't remember if we had him on briefly once. It's been a while. So we'd love to have you on again. Okay, the question from Scentland a while back with a super chat was, would we like to go, what do we miss most about the early 90s? So what was good about the 90s that's not the same anymore? What do you think about that, Chris?
Well, it's difficult because we were at a different stage of our lives. Okay, so what do we miss of our own lives, or in general around? Now, let's
say in general, like the way that the world was. Like, what did we have then that we don't have now, or maybe what we don't have, what we didn't have that you know, whatever.
Yeah. I think that the things were actually rapidly deteriorating in the 90s in terms of new markets were opening with the whole East Bloc coming into play. So the general values of capitalism started to, not that I'm a communist or something, but some very market oriented values became more prominent worldwide. So it started to be more of a market and numbers game. But the 90s had some sort of colorful, carefree attitude about it. The information flow was not as quick as it is today. So the internet was not around in that shape and form. Mobile phones were not around in that shape or form. Kids were more playing in the backyards. Friendships were more genuine at least for what I can say. But again, it's an age-related matter as well. But in general, and this is why I like Friends, for example, as a show, because it had this little silly yet somehow genuine kind of fun. It's this carefreeness that is. Today, everything is monitored. Everybody's step on the street, on their phone, on your workplace, everybody, everywhere, CCTV, everything is monitored. We are always on screen, always alert, always, somehow in front of somebody's eyes somewhere. And that wasn't the case then. It was more kind of relaxed, more genuine still. And so kind of missing that.
Yep. Okay, VinceNet sort of making a good point that ties in with that in a way. No phones, people had to actually interact with each other. So yeah, for me, I think I get more nostalgic maybe about the 80s or something. That was even more of a different world. And as you say, we were sort of in a way going into the world we live in today somewhat by the 90s, where the parameters of the world and the different economic and political systems that we used to have it was all just one thing only. Now is going to be the way the world is, whether you like that or not. So things were changing rapidly there. But this life was a little bit still a little bit simpler then. And if you wanted to, although it wasn't fun, if you wanted to call a girl and ask for a date, you had to call a girl and ask for a date. You didn't just go on scroll through people on your phone or whatever they do now, or text them or anything like that. So stuff like that. Although it was worse, it was better in a way. Life was a bit more real and natural, and how people should live. And for me, it was because I was a certain age, but I didn't have the option to sit at home and play some game or interact with a kid in Mississippi and shoot them in a computer game online. So I had to go and interact with my friends down at the field with a football, and that was all we had. And it was nicer. So the simplicity of life, I think, were a little bit simpler, less technology, obviously bad stuff, but a lot of good stuff about having less technology for me. So that's what I would miss, I think. All right. So guys, we've done a bit of current affairs or, political stuff. We've done music and we've done movies. So we've done some of the main things, and we've done a fair bit of sport, haven't we? So we've not done too bad. Were there any other sports stuff going on in the 90s, Chris? Were you into any other stuff like cycling, Tour de France, or anything weird like that?
No, I was in snooker. I was into snooker, and I remember Steve Davis coming over to Hungary for the first coming over here, and everybody was wowed. And he went into a venue where we were like I don't know, 150 people standing on chairs and tables and all that. And he did a 147 break in front of our eyes. A lucky one, but he did one. Everybody was gobsmacked. Steve Davis, but also my favorite one, Jimmy White and Stephen Hendry and these guys were around. Very, very, very good snooker at the time. I was crazy. I'm still crazy about snooker. Not that much anymore, but
Jimmy White was really good. Yeah. I actually met him once. Funnily enough,
I played him. Imagine that.
You played him at snooker.
It's on a small table. It was in Dublin in 2005.
You're kidding me. Are you any good at snooker?
I have a table at home, but I haven't played it
because it's in your videos. Yeah. Is it full size?
It's full size. It's a match room. It's made in England.
Wow. So are you good at it then? I mean,
my highest break is like 38 or something. So no.
Okay. I assume that Jimmy White beat you.
Yeah, I spent around 20 seconds at the table, I think, at the time. But,
yeah. Okay. Jimmy White was really good. He was flamboyant in his playing style. It was him and Alex Hurricane Higgins I quite liked.
Read the autobiography of Jimmy White. You'll be knocked off your chair what this guy did.
That was when they stood. Yeah. That was when they could probably just about had stopped being able to do it on the TV. But certainly in the 80s, you would see people sat there with a pint of
oil,
and a cigarette in their hand on your TV playing sport. I mean, you got to love that. I think they'd stop that by the 90s. To be honest, Stephen Hendry, great player, but hardly the most compelling.
That's right. Yeah.
Figure was he? Steve Davis again a little bit dull. So Jimmy White more my cup of tea. Swedish crowns, 50 Swedish crowns. Thank you so much to Ronald Johnson. Really appreciate that.
Love Sweden. Sweden, Sverige.
A great country. Yeah, I've been to Sweden a few times actually, and I approve of it. It's a very nice place indeed. A big thanks to both of you for all the great videos. I really appreciate it. Thank you so much. Probably quite cold over in Sweden at the moment. but the super chat appreciated. So, all right, the American audience may be getting annoyed with some of our references to snooker and soccer. So, in 1992, I had the Jordan 7s, the Cardinal 7s, they were called. I don't know what that means, but it reminded me of American sport. Guys, if there's some American people in the comments there, let us know the big stuff that happened in the States. Here's one. It's a good point. In 92, we did neglect the States a little bit tonight in our comments, so let's do that. In 92, the Dream Team US basketball team, I remember this, was named the best sport team in the world. Wow. Hence the nickname, the Dream Team. Yeah. Did they win the Olympics that year?
I don't know, but I think Magic Johnson turned out to be HIV positive that year, wasn't it?
Was it that year? Yeah, okay. Sounds
around
about
that,
right.
Around that time.
Let us know if that was correct.
I'm not sure, but I seem to remember. Because because it was so prominent all over the place and that. But also don't forget the great political change that took, or great or not great, I don't know. But Bush against Clinton and throughout the entire year, and then the showdown in November, where Clinton just took over politically from George Herbert Walker Bush.
The older Bush, yeah. So basically, there had been quite a few years of Republicans in the White House, because you'd had 8 years of Ronald Reagan, starting back at the very beginning of the 80s. He was succeeded by his former vice president, George Bush, father of George W. Bush, that is more recently president. And so, George Bush could have gone for another 4 years, which indeed he was going for, but he lost to the Democrat Bill Clinton. Quite a tight race, wasn't it? And the song was "Don't Stop Thinking About Tomorrow." That was their campaign song. Do you remember that one?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, and it wasn't a song from that year, but it was. We had to listen to it a lot. I mean, I got to tell you, this is something. All political stuff in every country, you find that there's usually two parties that are not that different. But I really look at the American stuff and the rallies, and it's just all completely the same. They're all stood there in silly hats with the American flag on them, just waving American flags. And it's like, I know there are some different policies, but to us, I mean, at least here we had the Labour Party and the Conservatives, and there's not much between them, but there was a slight obvious difference that one was sort of supposedly more for the working people, and the other one was more stuffy, conservative, British aristocratic people. But the American thing, it just seems they're so similar in the style of the presentation that
it's just the elephant against the donkey, isn't it?
Yeah, they do have that. Yes, the elephant is. Hang on, which one's which? Can you remember? I don't know which one. Which one's Republicans?
Now we got to be careful. Now we let our
we need cuddles in the audience. Well, no, I can say that without upsetting. But it's just to me, it's bizarre to watch their campaigns, because they're just simply waving the American flag all over the place. I'm sure they are political stuff, but yeah. Anyway, Clinton won, and he was because he got a grilling, didn't he? Hillary Clinton had to back him because it was known that he'd had a few affairs and stuff or something. It was known, which he then went on to have another one when he was in office, but we'll do that when we get to that year. And Democrats are the donkeys then. Thank you.
Okay.
And the elephants. Thank you, guys. Okay. Elephants. I wasn't trying to be critical of America or their politics, but I'm just saying it's different culturally to what we have in Europe, where things tended to be. You could differentiate a little bit more. Okay, so yeah. Clinton got in. So that was big stuff. That was really big stuff. Oh, what else? I can't remember. Were there any major disasters that year? I can't remember.
I don't know, but I remember that there must have been, because the Queen of England called the year Annus Horribilis, if you remember.
Yeah.
1992, because the Windsor Castle burned down and Diana and Charles got divorced, or at least announced their divorce at the time. So Annus Horribilis for the Queen.
Yes, that was the Annus Horribilis from the Queen called it a horrible year, because there was a fire at Windsor Castle. So it was an interesting year. We picked some great fragrances at this point.
I'm not done yet.
You got something? Sorry. Okay, I thought I was out. Okay. Go for it. Go on then. Yeah.
As a last bang to this, I'm going to present you with what the best fragrance of the year 1992, in my opinion, has been or was, and it's not a male fragrance.
Ooh,
Yes.
Versace, the female
Versus,
version.
yes, Gianni Versace with his signature, and I have this gift box here. This is just the juice of
Yeah.
1992, in my opinion. It followed the male version from 91, and the smell of this, I am happy to smell it anytime. Happy to wear it, and my first girlfriend had this. I gifted her this fragrance, and this is to me the ultimate smell of 1992 and the best composition of that year.
Wow, so that's the female version. Correct me if I'm wrong, but the male version came out in 91, right?
Correct. Yeah.
Which is quite rare. You normally have it the other way around. So, okay. I'm very curious to try that one now. Obviously, very hard to find, really, isn't it, that one now?
Oh, yes. But again, I might be able to point you into the right direction there.
Thank you so much.
It's really good.
Well, when we do 91, I'm sure the male version will feature. But now I'm curious to try the female one. There were some really, really interesting, great releases coming out from designer houses back then. Charles, we really appreciate that comment from Charles M. Alperan. It's nice to see a mature live stream about fragrances. Thank you. We really appreciate that. I've done some slightly more immature ones on other evenings, but the Thursday one is where we talk fragrances about classic fragrance. So I think that's a good differentiation. And Chris, you was great that you joined us last Friday for the more informal, or the more sort of anything goes. We're not necessarily talking about fragrances stream that I do on a Friday. It was really good to have you there, and I hope you might be able to join us again. Okay, so 1992, guys, a great year to be alive. We were both well, I was a bit young. Chris was just coming into the very prime of his life. Not that we're still in that now, really, but perhaps a little bit further in, Yeah, exactly. We're still keeping. You're keeping in good shape though, Chris, these days. I think. You're not carrying too much extra meat there on the bones.
Well,
are you still doing the boxing stuff?
Yeah. I'm getting my ass kicked in the ring by a former professional guy who's trying to teach me all the leg work and the punches and stuff. So that keeps me on my toes, definitely.
Nice. And is that your main thing that you do now, or do you go running, or what?
Swimming.
Or just
this and swimming.
Swimming. Yeah. All right. Good stuff. Well, I went for a run today. I do a lot of running, so that's my main exercise. So guys, try and stay healthy out there, and you could still be in your prime just like us, even into your 40s. Yeah. Okay, guys. But in many ways, I'm sure we would go back to the 90s and have our youthful vigor then, combined with the wisdom that we have both amassed.
Would you go back? I mean, that was a question. Would you?
Yeah. Well, he said for 3 days. I mean,
yeah, just to meet the people. I mean,
yeah, I'd actually
anymore.
Yes, I would then. Yes, I would. Yeah, I'd always go back to. Yeah, I'd love to go back to the 70s or the 80s too. So absolutely, yeah. Joe Malone Grapefruit 1992 is incredible in the summer. Oh, I didn't know there was a fragrance called that.
Wow.
I assume it didn't come out then, because I don't even think they existed then. But anyway, interesting. Secret Police, thank you for policing the chat. I feel that that's been a very good hour and 12 minutes for us there, Chris. So this one won't be the sort of a 4-hour live stream the weekend ones go on for 2 hours or more, but that's a different kind of scenario. So I think this is a great place to wrap it up. Chris, any closing thoughts for the audience on 1992?
Well, it is all in context, isn't it? Because we've been at some stage of our lives in every year that we kind of look back at, and we have good and bad memories, and the world has some ugly and good things going on. As long as we can take away genuine positiveness of a year, that I think that every time we're doing something like this, we're trying to do by elevating few fragrances that are outstanding. We are trying to get something positive out of the year. As long as we do that and put it into context, I think we are really able to present these years as something that are worth to look back, because in the end 2022 is going to be a vintage year in 20 years time. So We got to be conscious of that as well. That time just fucking flies.
It does, yeah, it does, and you're conscious of that more as you go through your life. Absolutely, yeah. And they get great super chat here just to close out with. Thank you so much, Anton Constantino, £4.49. That's very kind, appreciated. Any 90s hip hop fans in the house? 92, a big year for the music genre of hip hop. I can't say I was really into hip hop at the time, and I can't say I'm a hip hop fan myself. If I'm completely, some of what I hear I like, but I don't know a lot about it. Chris, hip hop into it at all?
Not really my genre. No, I'm afraid. Sorry for that.
Yeah, I know it certainly. There's going to be tons of amazing stuff that happened in the 90s that people can tell us about, but yeah, we don't know about. I'm sorry, we just like our rock and roll over here. So thanks for the super chat, though.
I know Notorious B.I.G. and stuff like that, but that's again different. So that's more of a kind of another level.
Yeah. Okay, but thanks for the question. We gave the answer, which was that we don't know much about hip hop. That's it for tonight, guys. We will be back tomorrow night, Friday night, the usual Friday Fragcom live, kicking off 10:30 p.m. UK time. That's 11:30 p.m. if you're in Budapest, or probably in Paris too. It'd be the same, I guess. Is that right? And like 5:30 p.m. early evening for you guys over in New York City. We hope to see you all here. Chris, I'm going to wrap it up there. Any ideas what year you fancy doing next week, Chris? Let us know briefly in the comments before we go.
Yeah, I think we should leave it up to the comments, that because we are flexible, as long as it's not 1952, which is going to be difficult to cover. But I would like to see some 2000s maybe.
Yeah, maybe we need to get into the 21st century, guys. Drop a comment either in the live chat, or which that's going to close in a minute. So just put a comment in the video, which we'll upload in the normal kind of comment section on the video, and we'll take those into account. 80. Yeah, well, we'll try 1875, 1982, 82 would be good. 1582. Well, is 2005?
I like that one.
Classic though. Is that not too soon? It's a very controversial question. Great Stream says Haitian Church. Any year from 2000 to 2005 would be good. All right. 83 says It's Vital. Yeah. 2001. Yeah, we can actually have a debate about where do we draw the line that this is no longer classic fragrance territory. But I think Chris draws it quite close to now, like 2008. Well, good stuff. Keep going with those in the live chat until that closes, and give us it in a normal comment. I'm going to leave it there. Thank you so much to the audience. We'll see you next week for this show again, same time, same place, and I'll see you guys tomorrow.
Thank you very much for having me,
and thank you very much, Chris, for being a great guest. And I'm ending the broadcast.